to get people to open up their mental gates and let you in from Willingham. Ron Willingham's book, Integrity Selling for the 21st Way People Want to Buy. Hi, Kefir. Hi, guys. Welcome to today's names and where you all are coming in from. Okay. My name is May Dildalao. My blog is yesfinanciallyfree.com. I live in Waikiki, Hawaii, with my husband Jamal and our 7-year-old son Jordan. And back in 2011, I was really bad with money. $40,000. Oh, it was ridiculous. Credit card debts. Okay, paid it all off by April 2016, and then I quit my job. December 23rd was my last day. By then, we had improved our net worth, our family's net worth, by $500,000, and was making almost $500 a month in passive income every month. And then I started coaching clients to do what I do, which is create passive income, but also pay off debt, improve your net worth, and have more free time so you can quit a job you don't like or transition to something else you want to do. So I call it Finance Freedom Mastermind program I created. And so I do lives almost pretty much every weekday. Yeah, I was live yesterday. I had some computer freezing issues, but I was live, not on YouTube, but I was live on Periscope and Facebook. So you can always catch me live somewhere usually, unless it's a holiday. So today we're just going to go through this chapter and learn from Ron Willingham. Now, I don't know if you guys are into selling or sales. Selling and sales is something that everybody does all the time, right? When you want people to get to know you, like you, make friends. That's all sales skills. It's just a different way to get people to like you and how to get people to open up the mental gates that you in, right? So we're just going to talk about that. And this is extremely important, right? And if you want to sharpen up your communication skills so you can be better service to other people, then this is a great review. So let's get started, okay? And I'm just reading one chapter from this book. My husband highly recommends it. He studied it when he was in sales training. So check it out, yeah? Oh, and before I start, my blog, yesfinanciallyfree.com, I have a replay of this video there. And every week, the live videos and the blogs I do are all there. So you can always refer back to it. If you're not on my email list, get on. I emailed them before I did this live. Just put your first name and email address on the right side of the blog. Hit the big red yes button, and you'll get the free ebook. Hi, Will Johnson. You'll get the free ebook, Working Parents Guide to Financial Freedom, sent directly to your inbox. And you'll get on my email list. So you'll get all my great emails on weekdays about what I'm live, what I'm talking about. And it's all about financial freedom, all right? Okay, let's do it. So today we're going to read, it's called Chapter 2 on page 24, all right? And it's called Approach. Get people to open up their mental gates and let you in. All right, Integrity Selling Success Principle. People are more apt to trust and open up to you when you listen to them, care about them, and have a sincere desire to understand them, okay? All right, one day I got a call from a pharmaceutical representative who was enrolled in our integrity selling course. She told me about the 6th step of our selling system. She told him, "Doctor, I'm not here to detail you today. I'd like to just take a few minutes to better understand your practice and how I can better serve you." The doctor then spent 10 minutes telling her how. As she was leaving, he welcomed her back and remarked, "You're one of the nicest pharmaceutical reps who's ever called on me. Why have you never called on me before?" What a lesson. She'd been there 5 times before, doing her industry's typical 2-minute detail, and he didn't even remember her. Obviously, she never made it through his mental gate. Almost the same week, another rep told me this story. She called on a doctor who'd always been very busy and preoccupied. He'd impatiently listen to her 2 to 3 minute product presentation, take some printed information, and allow her to leave samples. On this visit, she left all the sales material in her car. She said, "Doctor, I see that you're very busy today. If you don't mind me asking, how do you balance your life with such a busy schedule?" The doctor thought for a moment, had her sit down in his office, and spent the next 15 minutes telling her about his favorite hobby, winemaking, how it took his mind off his work. He then went into a closet, brought out a bottle of his wine and gave it to her, asking her to let him know how she liked it. Guess who was welcome back to his office anytime? Your first sale. The approach is the first sale you must make. An effective approach prepares people to notice you and, more important, want to communicate with you. As you approach people for the first or 51st time, you must consciously get them to open their mental gates and move through the barriers of preoccupations or distractions that keep them from hearing you. You may only have telephone contact with your customers, or you may have face-to-face contact. You may only have a 5-minute total contact, or it may be much longer. Regardless of the amount of time you have, you must gain rapport before you'll be heard. Hi, Razan, welcome. Even with repeat customers, each time you have contact with them, you should consciously work to get on their emotional wavelength before moving ahead with your calling objectives. The approach action guides. Tune the world out and people in. Put them at ease and make them feel important. Get them talking about themselves. Hold eye contact and listen to how they feel. As you practice these action guides, you'll consistently make effective approaches. You'll get people to open their mental gates and let you in. Hi, random guy again, welcome. Tune the world out and people in. The first step in gaining rapport with people is to prepare yourself to be customer focused. Put aside your own concerns when you contact customers, which isn't as easy as it sounds. Most of us have different thoughts in our heads when we approach people. Will I sell anything to this person? Hi, Van Lily, welcome. Why did I get so upset when You break your own preoccupation by focusing on your customer. You have to retrain your thoughts. What are their needs? Let me make sure I understand them. Before you make contact, take a couple of minutes and write down 2 or 3 needs, wants, problems, or challenges you think a customer may have. Then write down 2 or 3 ways you can help them or ways you can possibly create value for them. Visualize them saying to you after contact, "You're the kind of person I'd like to do business with." Hear them telling others how you've helped the issues and focus on the people you contact. When you let go of your own preoccupations, people are more likely to let go of theirs. Put them at ease and make them feel important. The second step in an approach is to put them at ease and make them feel important. You can best practice this by being at ease yourself. Usually a friendly, relaxed way of approaching someone is best because people tend to mirror your actions. For most people, there's a subconscious urge to adopt the same emotional level that you present to them. This seems to work on a deep. Worst thing you can do is immediately make a sales presentation or begin talking about your product or service. You should always establish rapport with your customer before moving forward. Also, it's best not to pull out your sales material right away. Whether it's in person or over the telephone, it's usually best not to give them the feeling that you're trying to sell them something. When gaining rapport, be aware that your body language influences people. Watch how and where you sit. Don't get too close or how you're casual with people, but don't be too stiff and formal either. Close that they feel uncomfortable. They'll reveal this by pushing or leaning back from you. Notice where they have their guest chairs located in relation to their desks. This tips off where they want you to sit. All this observation is possible when you have strengthened your emotional intelligence. Once you put your customers at ease, you'll want to make them feel important. Customers at ease, you'll want to make them feel important. You can do this by, first of all, thinking they're important. I love that. If you can do it sincerely, compliment them on things others have said about them or possessions you see in their surroundings. Laugh and smile to break the tension. Your body language and tone of voice should say to people, "There's something I like about you." The same is true when you have telephone contact as well, whether the calls are incoming or outgoing. You can develop these natural responses with practice. Recently, I called American Airlines herself by name and asked me, "How may I help you?" I told her my flight number and asked to be upgraded. She replied, I'd be delighted to check on that, Mr. Willingham. How is your day going today? I told her, and she responded with a cheerful, well, I hope it continues to be a good one. In just a couple of minutes, she had made me feel special. I sensed her cheeriness was genuine. Hi to Madre. By turning into my needs, making me feel special, upgrading me, and thanking me. Hi. I don't know what your name is. You have underlined as your handle. Okay, get them talking about themselves. People love to talk about themselves, their interests, their families, their jobs, their hobbies, and their achievements. I learned this from an early mentor, J. Henry Thompson, a regional manager for Diebold Inc. of Canton, Ohio. After making calls with me and watching me strap themselves and their interests, rather than just going in and trying to sell them something. I've never forgotten that. Mr. Thompson taught me a question to ask people that has been invaluable to my own selling career. The question is, what are some things that have helped you get where you are today? I've asked this question many times in many ways. You can rephrase the question in different ways. How did you achieve your level of success? How did you become president of this bank? As busy as you are, how do you balance your work and personal life? What do you do in your spare time? What led you into this profession? How did you choose to calls with one of our business associates? He told me that we were going to meet a man who was probably the second wealthiest person in that part of the country. He thought we'd just drop in for a few minutes. We went into the conference room, met the man, a quiet, dignified person. Fairly soon into the conversation, I asked him, how did you build such a large organization? It took him an hour and a half to answer my question. He told us how he came from a poor family, started to work in a cotton processing mill at the age of 13. The mill owner was so impressed with him that he paid for his college. 13. The mill owner was so impressed with him that he paid for his college. Tears came into his eyes as he described in detail what his mentor had done for him. As we were leaving, he sincerely thanked us for coming by and apologized for not taking so much of our time. A deep rapport was established. Over the years, I've learned that everyone has a story that they need to tell. And when I ask the right questions and sincerely listen to the answer, I can make an emotional connection with my customer. This emotional bonding helps begin strong, lasting relationships, which in the long run results in sales. Hold eye contact and listen to how they feel. Once I was making calls with another of our business associates, Larry Roberts, as we called on Mark Wright, the president of the USAA Federal Savings Bank in San Antonio, Texas. In the course of our visit, I asked him, how did you get into banking? And to tell us his story. He graduated from a small Dallas, the largest person at the Republic National Bank in Dallas, the largest, very senior officer. As the interview began, the bank officer asked about Mark's experience, only to find out that he had none in banking. He then asked about Mark's degree, only to find out that it had nothing to do with banking. When asked why he should be hired by the bank, Mark replied, well, Republic. Mark went on to describe the man who took a chance on him. As he described the bank officer, I have no idea why. Was that Bob Scott? Yes, he responded, astounded. I knew Bob Scott, I replied. You did? Yes. You know he was killed a couple of years ago. No. How? He was shot by two men who were robbing his home. He spent the next hour talking about his respect for Bob Scott and how much his career was opened by Bob's confidence in hiring him. It was only our first meeting, but we shared some very deep deal as they talk. Granted, few initial conversations achieve this level of intimacy, but anytime you get people talking about themselves and their lives, emotions are expressed that help create relationship bonds. Listening to and understanding how people feel has a powerful bonding effect. When we care to listen, it's this bonding effect that is so key to increase doing it to help make a sale. Observing people's facial expressions, gestures, and body language helps us tune into them on deeper than average levels. But I don't have face-to-face contact with my customers, you might say. This may be true, but you can visualize eye contact with them You might even imagine the color of their eyes, what they look like, what kind of clothes they like to wear, even though you can't see people on them. As you practice these 4 action guides, you'll develop stronger rapport with people, and you'll feel one of the strongest needs they have, the need to be listened to, valued, heard, and value them and understand them. You can offer feedback by nodding approval at key points they make, or giving verbal responses like, I understand, I see what you mean, yes, I agree. You also give feedback with your body, will cause others to be more open. Interrupting people to make your own points tends to close them up and makes rapport difficult. When you genuinely want to listen and understand another person, you'll exhibit the proper words and gestures. So don't think about your gestures, about whether to smile, how to position your body. Rather, want to hear and understand, and you'll exhibit the appropriate body language. Your expectations often precede your realities with others. A number of years ago, experiments with students who initially felt unfriendly toward one another. When one party began to try to see the other party in a more positive light and instigated friendly behavior, the other person's behavior changed accordingly 70 to 85% of the time. There's a powerful message here. To a large degree, we have the power to determine how we'll be received by customers by having positive responses from them. As I said earlier, people have a tendency to mirror each other's attitudes and feelings. There seems to be a natural dynamic of human action. People are unconsciously compelled to return to us the same attitudes and feelings that we give them. There's a name for this phenomenon, the law of psychological reciprocity. As a salesperson who wants positive responses from people whom you contact, it's up to you to take the first step. Assume that your customers genuinely be excited about meeting customers, look for good in them, and value by asking questions and listening. As soon as you do, you'll find many people are psychologically impelled to return these same responses back to you. You'll be surprised how often these sincere efforts will help you gain rapport with people, and it works in direct proportion to your genuine interest. Your interest in a person's values, feelings, and business must be 100% sincere. That's why we call it integrity selling. More about behavior styles. Now that you know the 4 approach steps in an approach, you can learn to apply and adapt these steps to what behavior style you encounter. Let's review the 4 basic styles. Talkers are social types. They love people. They love to visit and socialize, have block parties, arrange family reunions, join bowling leagues. They're easy to gain rapport with, easy to approach. After 10 minutes, you'll think you've been friends for life. They like to tell jokes. When you hear the preface, hey, have you heard the one about, you'll know you're probably communicating with a talker. They enjoy chit-chat. They're friendly and affable, often have a cluttered environment, and their automobile interiors usually need cleaning. They like pictures and things that bring them recognition, and are often more daring with their dress and jewelry. Their motto is, life should be fun. Doers are achievers, drivers. This is the second one. Their objective is to get, there's never enough time. They're competitive and energetic and attack things that get in their way. They talk about achievement, bottom line results, and there's often a free-floating hostility against anyone or anything that tries to slow them down. They hate to stand in lines and will do it only until they figure out how to move to the head of the line. A doer's motto is, I don't want a 40-hour week, I want a 40-hour day. They like you to get to the point. A doer's motto is, I don't want a 40-hour week, I want a 40-hour day. They like you to get to the point. They're impulsive and very decisive, and they'll make quick decisions once they think they have a grasp of the necessary facts and information. They're often surrounded by trophies, awards, plaques, all attesting to their achievements. They exhibit and talk about goals and rewards for achievement. Often, you'll see their pictures with other well-known high achievers. They're restless and have nervous mannerisms. Another motto is, do it now. Supporters are stable, even-tempered people. They're content with routine, redundant jobs. They're usually never very high or very low emotionally. They're not pushed for time and are unhurried. They're usually honest and dependable. They're the first ones to come to work in the mornings and the last ones to leave in the evenings. They aren't risk takers, nor do they make quick decisions. They're motivated by security. They focus on doing a good job more than getting high results. They're detail-minded for the sake of doing the details well. They like to hang on to tried and true methods and techniques. Their motto is don't rush into things. Controllers are logical, rational people. They're highly organized and show strong attention to detail. Their decisions are unemotional and revolve around facts and figures. Their motto is a place for everything and everything in its place. They're surrounded by orderliness. They talk about methods, conditions, and functions. They file information neatly and know how to retrieve it quickly when needed. They reveal a high degree of skills. Controllers make good use of their time. They show high attention to detail for the sake of effective management. They also exhibit low energy and emotional responsiveness. Their greatest fear is being inaccurate and making mistakes. How to approach each style. Each style of customer will require a different kind of approach, and the amount of time you'll spend with people varies according to their style. Look at the AID Inc. graph, and you'll notice that the approach step takes up a small amount of the total selling time. You'll also notice that in the approach step, you do 20% of the talking and 80% of the listening. This is a general statement, as you may find it more difficult to get controllers and supporters to do 80%. Find it more difficult to get controllers and supporters to do 80% of the talking unless you ask the right questions. The secret, again, is knowing the right kind of questions to ask, because each style of person wants to communicate differently. For instance, talkers like to answer these kinds of approach questions. How have you been doing? Where are you going on vacation? Where will you spend the holidays? What do you do for recreation or hobbies? Tell me about your children or family members. What do you enjoy most about the people you know? You'll find it easy to gain rapport with talkers since they like people. They often do 95% of the talking or more. Doers usually don't have time for chit-chat, so don't ask them unimportant how's the weather questions. You can often misread doers and not spend enough time approaching them. While it's true that I don't have time for idle conversation, I found that when I ask them the right questions, they'll often take plenty of time to talk to me. The secret lies in knowing the right kind of questions to ask and knowing when they want to move in. Here are some sample questions that I've asked doers. Notice how they differ from questions you'd ask other styles. How do you manage to get so much done? What success will be today? What advice would you give to someone who wants to achieve your level of success? My experience in these kinds of questions encourage doers to do lots of talking. I've made many sales and developed strong ongoing selling relationships in this way. Here are some approach questions you can ask supporters. How did you learn to do your work? What are some of the important functions of your job? What activities do you enjoy doing? Why is keeping up with details so important? How do you keep everything looking so nice? How do you stay so calm and in control of yourself? Remember that supporters want to talk about security and moving risks. They want to tell you why it's better to be safe than sorry. This is Jordan, guys. Controllers, you'll remember, are logical, no-nonsense people, so these types of questions are appropriate for them. What's your secret for being so well organized? How do you keep up with so many facts and so much information? How are you able to lay your hands on information so quickly? What are the most important elements that keep your organization functioning? How are you able to use your time so well? What are some problem-solving techniques that work for you? Analyze these questions for a moment, and you'll see that they tend to focus on logic and facts. Controllers like to talk about efficiency and good organization. Again, it makes no difference whether you're making one sale to a person or if you call on the same people over and over. These suggestions will help you to approach different people successfully. It's not so important to remember the questions as to understand the principles behind the questions. Don't expect to master these ideas instantly. They take time. I encourage you to read this chapter over and over. Begin to observe the differences in people you meet. Stop, look, and listen. Really listen to people. You'll be amazed how much better you can communicate with customers as you learn about their behavior styles. Don't try to analyze style in front of people. Maybe the most important thing to remember is that when you get in front of a prospect, customer, or client, don't try to analyze their style. Don't even think about style when talking to someone. Doing so will prevent you from hearing what they're really saying to you. Confused? Then keep reading. I found that it's best to do my homework before contacting people. I try to learn as much as I can about them and use what I learned to try to determine their style. Then I structure my approach questions according to their particular style. When I'm in front of them, I don't think about their behavioral style. I just plug in and listen. I absorb and match their pace, tone, and attitude. I try to feel how they feel. I empathize with them. I adjust to their emotional drumbeat. Then after I call on them, I analyze the communication, what I saw in that environment. I role play my encounter. I analyze what I did and how I could have played it better related to the person's style. Rapport means getting in sync with people mentally and emotionally, thinking as they do, seeing the world as they do, and feeling like they feel. How to know when you've completed the approach step. People seem comfortable and open up to you. They appear ready to move on to share their needs. They indicate that they have time to pull together for a fact-finding interview. Remember that in your approach, you do 20% of the talking, 80% of the listening. Remember that in your approach, you do 20% of the talking, 80% of the listening. Your 20% talking time will be spent mostly asking questions and giving verbal feedback as you listen. Your 80% listening time will be spent allowing people to tell you their own thoughts, ideas, interests. Consciously practice the 4 following action guides this week. Notice their impact on the people with whom you have contact. Tune the world out and people in. Put them at ease and make them feel important. Get them talking about themselves, hold eye contact, and listen to how they feel. Notice how different people approach you. Carefully analyze how their attitudes, body language, eye contact, and facial expression cause you to feel. Pay attention to your instinctive responses and reaction when around different people. Remember, too, not to begin selling, telling, or demonstrating until you've gained rapport, until people have opened their mental gates and allowed you in. Accomplish these action guides and you've made your first sale. You've gained favorable rapport with people. You prepared them to move to the next step. That interview, that's it for today, guys. Check out the blog. That was how to get people to open up their mental gates and let you in from Ron Willingham. That's this book. You can check it out yourself. Integrity Selling for the 21st Century.